Hey there, it's Beth from Inspiring Young Learners, and welcome to another coaching video on how to help your ELLs in the classroom. The month of February is going to be focused on helping support our ELLs begin to speak, or ways that we can help push our ELLs to speak. This is a domain that's very near to my heart because I had taken years of Spanish and never was really pushed to authentically speak, live in context or work in context that I was using what I was learning. And so it really wasn't until I went to Spain and spent a month there that I began speaking. After 10 years of classes, I could conjugate all the verbs, I could do everything on paper, read and write, but the speaking domain was never developed in my case. And without that, really, it's pointless to learn the language. And so I'm really passionate about helping ELLs begin to speak and to do it in a way that's really fun and engaging and doesn't put them on the spot. And so in today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 truths that you need to know before you begin pushing your ELLs to speak. All right? So the first truth is that the silent period is real. You might have heard about it before. It is a true thing. It really does happen. And so we need to respect that silent period. Now, I know sometimes as a teacher, it's hard to know, is this the silent period or are they just not speaking? Should they be speaking by now? And there's a lot of questions that come around that. And so let's talk about that. The silent period. Ask yourself, how long has a student been in the country, been in the school, been learning English? If it is 6 months or less, then the silent period is probably at play. Now, I will put in here or in this email a blog post of ways that you can help push your students out of the silent period faster. But between 6 months to a year, it is completely acceptable and normal for a student to not speak. So we need to respect that. If you have a student who has been in an ELL program for a year or more, they need to be speaking, and we need to be giving them opportunities to speak in a very fun and engaging way to push them out of that discomfort, that anxiety, whatever it is that's stopping them from speaking, and to move forward. Because without that, they are going to remain stuck. And so those are kind of how to figure out, is it silent period or is this a time that I start to push my students? This is kind of the dance of working with ELL students. When do we let them develop and not push them? And then when do we push them and really help challenge them? So I will be sharing more about how do we push them in a way that makes them feel comfortable. So that's number 2. We need to choose activities that lower the affective filter. That means that we are not putting our ELLs on the spot. We are not calling on them in a whole group setting unless they've raised their hand and want and are choosing to participate. It can be really detrimental to a student's growth and willingness to try if they are all of a sudden put in a situation that's embarrassing, that causes anxiety. Those are things that we don't want to do. And so we need to be really thoughtful about the lessons we're planning and how do we make sure that our students are either talking with a peer first, talking in a small group first, or not even speaking at all if that's not the right context for them. We're not putting them on the spot. So that's why I love using strategies like Kagan's strategies where the students are talking constantly and then they can share out in the class. And so it gives them that extra confidence that what they're thinking, what they're processing, how they're putting in a sentence is correct before they share it with their whole class. Learning a language is very scary. It's, listening is one thing, but then when you get to speaking, there is so much vulnerability that's involved. There's a lot of fear, anxiety, and so we need to be really sensitive to that. And I'll be sharing more this month of how do we know at what language level should we really begin to push them. What should we be expecting from them when it comes to speaking and at each language level? Those are really important things to know as a teacher so that you can gauge how you're supporting that student and when it is time to push them. We need to do that, but we want to make sure it's done in the right way and at the right time. And so the truth number 3 of what you need to know before you begin pushing your students to speak is that there is a difference between social conversations and academic conversations. And you'll notice That's called BICS and CALPS. That's the term that you'll hear if you've done any ESL work, BICS and CALP. And so we want to focus on both. The social language will develop naturally when they speak with their peers, outside on the playground, during lunch. They're going to build that conversation quickly. The academic does take a little bit longer to develop. But something that I want to make sure we focus on is because in the classroom we do a lot of work on the academic language. We're always trying to get them to use academic language, which is great. But in my own situation, when I had a minor in Spanish, I moved to a foreign country and was unable to have conversations with people. Why? Because I knew academic Spanish. I knew all the verbs, I knew all of that stuff, but I didn't know how to casually converse. And so I think there is purpose in creating opportunities where we're teaching our students the social cues, the social, how to use your body. It might be different in different cultures, so how do we make eye contact? Those things are really important, and supporting the social language in the classroom as well as the academic. And so this is just a question to ask yourself. In this lesson, am I focusing on social language or am I focusing on academic language? And how am I helping support that? And, the social language could be as simple as a morning meeting where you are just giving the students opportunities to speak with one another and work on some of those social cues. It really makes an impact, and we want our students to be able to communicate clearly both in social context and academic context. So all this month, I'm going to be focusing on helping you become more confident in knowing how to support your ELLs in speaking and communicating, and then knowing how to push them so they move forward. So join me. I will be sharing once a week a strategy, a little video like this, some resources, and then also make sure to join our Facebook group because I will be sharing in there apps and websites and other tools that are going to be a huge help to you and your students. Please feel free to share this email with other teachers in your building that would be helpful to them to know how to support their ELLs in the classroom. And don't hesitate to hit reply on this email and let me know, what are you struggling with speaking? What are some areas that you really could use help in? I'm here to help you support your ELLs in the classroom. So goodbye for now, and keep on inspiring young learners.